The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We are simulcasting here in the last 2 hours at prisonplanet.tv when the syndicated radio transmission becomes living color, internet transmission television at prisonplanet.tv. We're going to go to Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. here in just a moment, live in studio. He'll be with us about 20 minutes into the next hour, and later in the hour, we're going to open the phones up for any issue you want to discuss. He's a generalist, kind of like myself, has a lot of knowledge about a lot of things dealing with the New World Order. He's also an author and filmmaker. So Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. in studio with us coming up here in just a moment. I want to tell you about a new sponsor. We've had some medical doctors on who've talked about this. With viruses and bacteria, colloidal silver, the smaller the better, really does help. And a lot of medical doctors talked about if there was a way to inhale it, that would be a great way to deal with infection and other things. You can find out more in the testimonials and the medical info, because I don't even pretend to understand all this stuff, at silverlungs.com. S-I-L-V-E-R lungs, silverlungs.com. It's a highly cost-effective colloidal silver generator. Yeah, it's its own generator system, really nice. And lung delivery system that produces pure and endless colloidal silver, delivers the solution directly into the blood. Never before has making high-quality colloidal silver been this easy and this effective. It really is a neat system. Silver Lungs, as in plural. You got two lungs. Silverlungs.com. One other sponsor I wanted to let you know about is Cola Blue. That's the atmospheric water generator. It grabs water out of the air. That's what clouds are. And sends them through 7-stage filter system. Reverse osmosis, carbon, UV, stores it in a stainless steel tank, has its own little computer readout. They have smaller systems that do 7.5 gallons a day. It looks like a water cooler without the water cooler on top. Acolablue.com, E-C-O-L-O Blue, Acolablue.com. Big banners up on Infowars.com, or give them a call, ask for a brochure. They have systems for solar power to be hooked up to it. Acolablue.com or 800-691-6043. 800-691-6043. Acolablue.com. And remember, our sponsors also make this radio show possible. Okay, who is Robert Gaylon Sr.? Well, he's born in Big Lake, Texas, and holds a BS degree in industrial engineering from Texas A&M University. While active in engineering, he was licensed professional engineer in the state of Texas and national certified manufacturing engineer. After graduation, he accepted a commission of the second lieutenant, later promoted to first lieutenant in the Army Security Agency, a branch of the NSA, which is a big brother of the Central Intelligence Agency. Military training was in the field of crypto analysis, the breaking of codes, and he served as a company commander with the intelligence unit on the demilitarized zone, DMZ, in the Valley of South Korea from 56-57 after fighting had ceased. Upon leaving active duty, he began his professional career in the petroleum industry, serves as industrial engineer for 10 years upon being promoted into management, and was a manufacturer plant manager for 10 years. The past 17 years, he served as international management consultant, working in U.S., Japan, Mexico, Canada, England, and Iran. He's advised some people in the Japanese government. After completing the manuscript of his first book, Who's Who of the Elite, he contacted a number of publishers and again went ahead and self-published, and now has RIE, his own publishing company, and 4RIE.com is the website. Robert Gaylon Ross, great to have you here in studio with us.
It's a pleasure being with you, Alex.
It's fantastic having you here with us as well. Okay, just in a nutshell, let's talk about how the banking system works, fiat banking. Some of your books cover that. We carry them at Infowars.com. Kind of dovetail it with your other work, the murder of JFK, RFK, MLK, how they murder people. We've had 4 big CEOs killed the last 48 hours. The head of the Rockefeller Family's corporation was clearly murdered. And then what their master plan is. If they're able to bankrupt the planet and bring this system in, if they're truly able to be successful, we know world government's just the beginning. What will the world look like if they were able to get everything they wanted? So good to have you here with us.
I appreciate that. What their goal is to create the New World Order, or the Global Union, and once they do that, it'll be sort of like in the medieval time when the kings would live in their castles, and in order to visit their friends in the other castle, they'd have to have an army to escort them to the next castle because the peasants were out to get them. And we're going to end up with kings and paupers all around the world. And there won't be any middle-class people. They're going to eliminate the middle class. But in order to stop this, in my book, I have set up a timeline for stopping them. And the first thing is we need to correct our voting system. We all know that our voting system is corrupt. And so once we straighten that out, and the only way to do that is to go to a paper ballot counted by members of the local community. And once the count is made, then it must be posted in a local newspaper before it ever goes to Washington or wherever, so that they can't juggle the numbers once the results are finished.
And we've got you for over an hour, so I want to get into that in the second part. Get into solutions, get into your new book, hot off the presses, What the Elite Have Done to America and How to Fix It, by Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. But starting out, because we have a lot of people, a lot of new listeners every day now. The show just gets bigger and bigger. Thank God we're reaching more people because so much of what we talked about has come true. Describe how fractional reserve banking works, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, what we're dealing with, and then currently your take on, because you're right, the Club of Rome has bragged, CFR brags, they want to bring in neo-feudalism, neo-serfdom. They want to bankrupt the world. They want to go to a post-industrial system where the armored government compounds in the countryside are where the elites live. They will have life extension technologies. They will have access to high tech. We are going to be put into a level of squalor, degradation, one-child policies, really kind of roving government systems that keep us in check, and the orderly extermination. But specifically, how these banking families got their control and what their master plan is.
Yeah, they've developed techniques in their money science. For example, the reserve system. A bank is required to keep 10% of the capital in reserve, and then they can loan out 90%. So let's say that you deposit $1,000 in a local bank. They can turn around and loan out $900 of that to someone else. And let's say they loan it to Joe, and Joe immediately puts into his checking account or savings account. Then they can loan out 90% of that. So as this keeps going from one to another, $1,000 can create $9,000 in new money. And that's the fractional reserve system. And it's done so that they can loan this money out at interest.
Continue breaking that down for people. I mean, in layman's terms, they get the license from the government, the authorization to just be able to make up money, make up liquidity, and then they buy up their own assets. They buy up products and industries, and then they got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act in '99 that allowed investment banks to become normal retail banks, and so they just directly gave themselves unlimited money and broke free of the chains of just the fractional reserve banking that already allowed them to take over the economy to just unlimited funding. And so they've now created tens of trillions of dollars more fiat currency than there even is real assets.
That's correct. And the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air. And most of the money they create is done by electronic means, by just a computer entry into their database. And if they print new money, it costs somewhere around $35,000 for a pallet load of, say, $100 bills. That's all it costs them. But that pallet load may contain $5 billion worth of money. So that the cost of printing the money is nothing to them.
I've talked to economists because they haven't published these in about a decade. A decade ago, for every $1 billion of fiat currency on the computer books, well, there's roughly 3% paper money or coin money for every dollar that's out there. But I've been told it's even less than that, down to about 1% right now. So it's not just the print money. It's just all this fiat made up money.
Yeah, it's the electronic money that's most of the M3 money supply is made up money, made up out of thin air, loaned out at an interest.
So people will kill each other. People will cheat their parents. People will do anything for some Federal Reserve notes, and it's all just made out of nothing for a handful of private families to be able to literally own the planet.
That's right. And then you have somebody like Bernie Madoff that he really soaked his own friends. He took all their money and said he was going to invest it, and turned out he didn't invest any of it. And it was a Ponzi scheme where he paid his the dividends of his customers off the money of other people, and he got up something like $65 billion he loaned out, and of course now he's spent 150 years in prison for doing that.
Well, and he created the NASDAQ. I mean, this is one of the high-level guys, and it's been reported that the same stuff he's doing, that all these major firms do this.